Welcome back to the House Always Wins podcast and YouTube channel. I'm your host, Caden Hauser, and today I am joined with the Riverview Raiders head coach, Chuck Carr. Coach Carr, it has been an action-packed offseason for you and the Raiders. Just take me through the emotional and physical roller coaster it's been.
Oh man, it has been the most fun I've had in an offseason in my career. Seeing the kids buy in, the kids work hard, the kids. We didn't have the season we wanted to have last year.
Right.
Not the season we hoped for. Not the season anybody would hope for, to be honest. But throughout it all, they kept working. And two things can happen. When that happens, they can either quit on you or they can just dig in. And we had a group that chose to dig in and take a bad season and turn it into a challenge. And so we have been literally just amazed as a coaching staff, like how hard these kids have worked and how far they've come in the offseason.
Yeah, my dad's been a head coach for 25 years now, my entire life, so I've seen rough seasons and I've seen green pastures. That's what we're hoping for the Riverview Raiders this season, I'm sure, and the work that you've put in is planning to prosper. What have you done just as a head coach to make sure you're doing your duties night in and night out?
Man, that's a great question. One, I try to just model being here. If I'm out of practice, if one of these coaches is out of practice, these kids know, hey, something's happened that is over the team. And we want to keep everything in perspective. We had the privilege of playing a game, but it's a game that is bigger than us, that lets us be bigger than us, lets us be better than ourselves. And so, family is always going to come before the team. Our relationship with God, I say, is always going to come before the team.
Right.
And so if those priorities, it's going to be one of those two things that keeps me out or keeps me away. And yeah, I think for the majority of our kids, they're in the same boat. That's kind of led them to say, hey, you know what? If I can push through, I'm going to push through. But if my family needs me, Coach, my family needs me, and they know, hey, that's the reason to be gone.
But before we get into the rest of today's video, we need to give a huge shout out to our sponsor, Nick Brown's Exterior Cleaning. Does your house, driveway, windows, anything, are they looking a little rough? Well, Nick Brown's Exterior Cleaning can help out with that. Whether you're getting ready to sell, having friends or family over, or really just want your business or house to look its best, Nick Brown's Exterior Cleaning has you covered. And with over 95 5-star reviews on Google, there's no doubt in my mind that your property will be spotless. And if you want to contact Nick for a free quote today, text or call this number right here and he'll hook you up. Now back to today's video. All right, Coach Carr, you joined the Riverview Raiders in 2024 as an offensive line coach and a run game coordinator after spending some time coaching in Texas. Now you're here, and what does it mean to you, not just as a head coach, but as a person, to be here?
Man, I first of all love being a head coach. It's a privilege and a calling, and that a lot of people strive for, and there's only so many of us, and so I realize that, and I don't take that for granted. But so I love that. I love this area. We're right here on the edge of Searcy, but really our kids, we don't have a lot of Searcy kids.
Right.
Our kids come from these little country towns, Judsonia, Kinzig, Griffithsville, like these towns that are further off to the east, and they're in small towns, small communities, just like the one I grew up in. And so I really kind of identify with these kids, and we grew up in the same areas with the same kind of things. Now, I grew up a long time ago with those kind of things, but so they got a lot of things that we didn't have, but I understand what these kids want and what they're looking for. And so I just love being able to coach kids that I can identify with.
And every team that I've talked to, from Stuttgart to Clarendon to Rosebud to Arkansas Tech, everyone tells me about how much the community means to them. Mm-hmm. Parents showing up, families showing up on Friday nights and providing for the teams. How has this community treated you being at Riverview?
Actually, this community, this year especially, has been incredible. One of the local businesses stood up, and we had a new scoreboard. Our scoreboard was in bad shape last year. And it was something that we talked about, and a new community partner stepped in and said, hey, we can help you with that. We can take care of that. Just today, we had an open practice great turnout of parents. They're excited about the season. Had some school board members and people from the community come and cook pancakes, do a pancake breakfast this morning. So that's been one of the goals of the staff, is we're like, how do we build traditions and involve the community that that make our game day, our time, man, this is a fun time, and something they want their kids to be a part of.
And you spoke on tradition there just for a second. Tell me about the tradition and culture that you're trying to build here at Riverview.
Absolutely. I want a program that people are proud of. And that, you're like, well, Coach, that's pretty generic. And as much as I can drill down is, one, I want people to be, regardless of our record, I want these kids to be able to walk around and be proud of what they did. I want coaches to be proud of the amount of time we put in, the product that's on the field. I want parents to see the value in what we're building. And so there's so many facets to, you say, well, you want to be something that's proud of. But we have great facilities here. We have a great location. We've been successful. The Fine Arts program here is successful. The basketball program has been successful. And we're like, hey, why can't we be successful? And so that's what we're hoping to build. It's going to take time, but I feel like we're definitely headed in the right direction.
No head coach can build a successful team all alone. It's really just impossible. So tell me a little bit about the coaching staff that you have been blessed with and how indispensable they have been, not just this offseason, but for every year you've been here.
Yeah. The first thing I gotta say about those guys is they have been, Caden, we've been in basically in-season schedule mode since the end of November. Like, we never got an off season. We're a small school, so all of us coach something else. I'm also head soccer.
Right.
Coach Byer, he was assistant softball last year. He's gonna be head softball this year. Coach Miner, Coach Guernsey, both coach baseball. Coach Miner's the head coach. Coach Goforth's head track, head bowling. So we all do other sports, and they have been getting here at 6:30 in the morning to get workouts done before school, to run our voluntary workout program with us, and then going after school and practice on their teams and going to their away games or whatever, and then coming back, and at 6:30 in the morning, we're unlocking doors, letting kids in for our off-season workout. So I couldn't be happier with how much. That's a lot. I'm just going to say, a lot of head coaches, like a lot of assistant coaches, would look at their head coach and go, man, I'm sorry, I got something else going on. And these guys haven't done it. They have been sold out to seeing the kids get better. And so the other thing, you said it's my first time as a head coach, and I'm only in my 9th year of coaching. So experience was important to me.
Right.
I wanted experience and I wanted energy when I went out looking for coaches. Coach Byer's been coaching longer than I have, and the experience is somebody that I can now go back to. Coach Goforth's got a ton of energy. He's always up. Coach Guernsey's got a lot of energy moving around. Coach Miner's been at Riverview for something like 7 years, 7 or 8 years. So yeah, those guys, each one kind of brings something that I get to glean and I get to use and say, hey, what do we know about this kid that I don't know? I've only been here 3 years.
Right.
What about this kid? What are we fighting long term, and what are we winning at right now?
And you speak of how crucial these coaches are for you, how much they mean to you in the entire program. Tell me a little bit about what these coaches do separately and what their roles are.
Absolutely. So Coach Goforth, because we're a small staff, there's 5 of us. We each coach an offensive and a defensive position. Coach Goforth is the defensive coordinator, but he also coaches running backs. So he's also running backs coach. Coach Guernsey is special teams coordinator, and he coaches defensive backs and wide receivers. Coach Miner coaches tight ends, H-backs, and he also does outside linebackers. I coach inside linebackers, quarterbacks, and run the offense. And Coach Byers, offensive line, defensive line coach.
One of the things you mentioned about this offseason is how hard this team has hit the weight room. You told me last season that one of the ways this team was led to a 1-9 record was because y'all were getting physically outmatched. Now, you held morning workouts starting all the way back. They were voluntary starting in November, and you had a lot of turnout. So now you're here less than 2 weeks away from your exhibition game. How much is hitting the weights meant to this team?
They look completely different. Our starting tight ends put on 25 pounds of muscle in the offseason. One of our tailbacks is now, he's a 146-pound guy that lifts 1,100 pounds total. So one of the things, like I said, getting physically outmatched really stuck with these guys. I believe you can lose games. I figure you lose more games in January, February, and March than you lose in September and October. And I think we were kind of stuck in that rut. I think the game, and I'm talking about last year, I don't feel like physically the kids took it seriously enough or were prepared enough physically for what they had. And we talked about it. It was something that we talked about throughout the season. And it was something they kind of agreed, hey, look, we know it's not an effort thing. I can see you trying. You see you running with everything you got. We can see you're bouncing off people because we just don't have the strength to go. We're not using leverage properly. Yeah, those things can be coached, but man, you got to have a level of strength. You got to get a little size. You got to get a little rear end behind you. As we say. And so, yeah, these guys, and they all play sports. Mm-hmm. So right. Basketball players, we've got baseball players. Bowlers. Well, these guys, even they were coming in the mornings voluntarily. Hey, we're gonna have a workout ready at 6:45, and I'll give you. I was a math teacher to start, so I'm a math guy, and I'll give you the stats. Like these guys started doing 32 sets. Our normal morning workout was 32 sets, at a minimum of 60% of their max for each lift. So and we varied it up and changed it up, and lots of research and study and calling guys, strength and conditioning guys. But they did 32 sets 4 days a week for how many weeks has that been now? 30 weeks. Right. It's impossible not to get stronger when you come in and do that. And so we just had practice that I didn't, we had a lot of people sick. I didn't think it was, we even got coaches sick today. Mm-hmm. Right. So I didn't think it was that great a practice, but the difference and the rate we're moving, the parents were just, the bystanders were like, you're fast, you're strong, like this is crazy, look how big y'all are. And that's straight out of the weight room, the work. Okay, man, I mean, that's a lot. That's 32 right. sets, and then you're going to go play basketball, go to basketball practice in the afternoon. That's, those are kids that are working. Yep. And then you have this newfound strength and then just extra effort that's being put in with these voluntary workouts. Like you said, before basketball practice, bowling, whatever it is, they're showing up. How is this changing the trajectory for this upcoming season? It sets a whole new standard. I mean, everything looks different. You go into, when you go into a game and you already kind of right off the bat, you're like, holy cow. You're looking across. Well, now, we look across the lines. Saying it, yeah. Yeah. Didn't we play these guys last year? I thought they didn't have any turnover. Who are these kids? And they know it. The kids know it. The kids have watched their 40 times drop. They've watched their maxes just climb and climb and climb. And once you start getting strong and you start feeling strong, there's a line you gotta watch. But you start playing strong. And how do you, as a head coach, not let this confidence not turn to cockiness? Right now, I'm not. Right now, I'm like, take it, man. Go see. We go out, and a big thing in camp for us this year is you're going to compete. And if somebody's jawing at you, we have our standards of what we say and language. But if we're going to talk a little bit, we'll get used to it. It's going to talk. You make a great play, hey, it's all right to turn around and show somebody you made a great play. Now, what I expect is, now that's going to push me to the level where, okay, I got you next time. Right. And so far, I mean, yeah, every once in a while, does somebody get a little mouthy or get a little hurt on it? Sure, but that's a teaching moment. For me, that's when you come back and go, hey, why are you mad? That was a great play. Right. Doesn't mean you're a bad person that he made a great play. You just go, all right, my turn's coming up, and you go on.
And you speak of those team camps that you've played in this summer and 7-on-7s, all of these good things. Tell me a little bit about how this offseason has went in these team camps.
Well, we got to, team camp wise, we only got to carry our starting group in once. But that's great. Some of our twos got really good reps.
Right.
Man, we got to compete against teams that, we were at team camps with 4A playoff teams and 2A teams and 2A top 5 teams. We were to camp with Des Arc and they're rated, I think right now they're ranked 3rd in 2A in the state. And we got to go out and not just compete, but the kids want to, hey, we competed. Like
right.
we're moving the ball. We're getting up and down the field. We're stopping play, And so that was huge. It was huge to go into the Sonic Air Raid, and I appreciate Coach Henley at Harding putting that on. And we only won one game, but it doesn't tell the story of of where we were and how we competed and who we competed against, and so that's been confidence building. Do I expect it to be better next year? Yeah, I expect it to be better next year, but it's because I really think everything we've done is just every step is, hey, now this is the new floor. Now this is the new floor. Now this is the new floor, and I'm excited about where that leads us.
Coach, this Riverview Raider team finished 1-9 last season. That's certainly not where you wanted to be, but one of my favorite things about football and sports in general is after there's a valley, you start climbing that hill. What has been the motivation for you to preach that this offseason and let these guys know that can happen?
Well, I think, again, it goes back to them seeing the results of the work that they put in. If you show up and you do 128 sets, 128 sets a week, and your bench press doesn't go up, you're gonna quit.
Right.
You're gonna start asking what's the value. And really, we've got a lot of the same players that went 1-9. I say that we got a lot of the same names, but they're not the same players this year.
Exactly. Yep.
And so we just preach. There, Cutter Morning Stars coach posted in the offseason, right towards the end of the season last year. He's actually not the head coach there anymore. I think he went to Pulaski Academy, but as a position coach. But they've gone 1-9 the previous year, and then last year they went 6-4, made the playoffs. And we talked literally as a team at the end of the season, I'm not just preaching this can't happen. This did happen.
Right.
Not far down the road, guys, just a little bit south of here. A team that did things the right way, got their head right, set the trajectory, found out what needs to change, moved forward, and just did it. So that's definitely doable for us.
And that's kind of been the mindset for a lot of coaches that I've talked to, especially one that you'll be playing this year, Clarendon Tracus Donaldson. He's a new coach there. That Clarendon team went 0-10 last year. That was before his arrival. But trying to build a new foundation is something he harped on when I interviewed him. Because, like I said, you can climb that hill. You can just start a new record for this Riverview Raider team. How much have you preached that, and how have you tried to up that vibe in a locker room this season?
It's one of the things I've really kind of put on the leaders. Each of us, as people, even as men, we have the opportunity to leave something better, and we found it. And my dad used to always say, always leave whatever it is you're doing, leave it better than you found it. We used to camp out at Grace Ferry Lake, and it was time to clean up camp, and I'm sure a lot of dads said, pick up all our trash and one other thing, go find something else that we didn't bring and pick it up. So I've been preaching to this team, you get the chance to leave this better. During this first week, when we can't really contact until day 6, I always let the junior high come up and practice with the senior high. We're doing a lot of ND drills and things like that. So there's not a lot of one-on-one contact, but they just get to see the speed
Right.
and the difference and the strength. And then in their minds, they start thinking, well, that's the standard now. That's where I've got to get to. And so I always tell these high school guys, you're telling the junior high what it takes to play Riverview Raider football.
Right.
And so as they get there, now they're going to get to pass down. Now this is what we say it means to play Riverview Raider football. And that to me is exciting because it's something that they get to be proud of. You get a piece in the program's success. As we're climbing the hill, as we're setting a new foundation, right? Then I've left a piece of that
Right.
behind, and I love that.
As a former run game coordinator and offensive line coach, I'm sure the run game is going to be a big part of this team's offense. Walk me through what you've seen from this offense and what you think they could also improve on through this offseason.
Absolutely. So one of the things we did not do well last year is we didn't move people. Now, part of that is physicality. Part of that we talked about and we think we've solved. The other part is just overanalyzing. The system that I actually used to run in Texas that I learned was really a zone-based system, and that's what I brought with me. It was one of the things whenever I came on as run game coordinator is, hey, let's do this. Let's redesign the offense. We'll do it zone-based a little bit. And I'll just be honest, it didn't fit. It was not something our kids are used to. And if you want to be worth anything as a head coach, any head coach will tell you, I'm sure your dad said the same thing, you don't try to fit your kids to your system, you try to bend your system to fit your kids. And so we did. We actually, we have changed up our verbiage. We've changed up kind of what our scheme is because, I want to, like every coach, like every O-line coach, I want to win 4th and 2. I want to win 3rd and 2. And I want to do it when you know what's coming. Other than that, I want to be able to slow and control a game. I think for us, play action is going to end up being big. It's not been a part of what we've done here in a while, so it's something that we're getting better at. And the strong run without the play action, I don't know that we're going to have the big plays. So the strong running game, the patient, strong, pull-in kind of power running game is going to feed into what we're doing. And we've been experimenting and playing some games with how to have a true power running game, even out of our spread, because we have a lot of skill guys, a lot of guys that can catch the football and do a little something with it in space. And I'm excited to see some of that stuff, how it works out as the season goes along.
Of course, yeah, that run game is really going to set up that play action. And you have multiple guys on this team that not only contribute on offense, but also on defense. Micah Stinson, Kyron Powers, some of these guys we'll be talking to later. How has this defense performed this offseason through team camps, and what have you seen them lacking in also?
Well, they're learning something new. We're doing something a little bit different this year. And I like it a lot. One of the things they've done is, again, energy. I bet when you talk to those guys, they will talk to you probably about how much different the energy is. And I attribute a lot of that to the defense coordinator, Coach Goforth's a high energy guy. Assignments they're still ironing out assignments, but the difference between this year and last year, physicality, obviously, energy, communication, man, they talk.
Mm-hmm. Right.
They talk. They know they're calling out formations. They're echoing calls. They're making sure that people see where they are. They're telling people where they're lined up. There's always, if you listen to our defense, whenever we're running defensive team, they never shut up. They're talking the whole time, all the way up until, we have a clap snap count, all the way up until Austin claps, they're talking. And I like that. It shows that. And then the other thing is that they're just taking coaching better. Last year I felt like a lot of times we had guys in the position they needed to be in, and they didn't have the confidence to finish the play or make the play. And that we're still working through that, but that is an area that's grown a ton defensively.
And what have you tried to do, like you said, putting that energy in these guys, also to instill that confidence that you talk about? What have you done as a head coach to prove that?
For one, I do. I mean, I run the offense, but I complement the defense. We all win when we all make plays on either side of the ball. So, I have seen great pass today. Had a nice pass thrown on a crossing route, and the safety read it, picked up his speed, dove out, knocked the ball down. That's a great play.
Right.
They didn't, the receiver didn't do anything wrong. It wasn't a bad throw. That was a great play.
Mm-hmm.
That was deciding to make a play on the ball and then falling out with everything you got. And so as a head coach, I'm always doing that. We do one-on-ones, and there may be a jump ball scenario or just a man coverage scenario where the route's perfect, the ball's well placed, the defense, he's right on him. You'd never throw that pass if it wasn't one-on-ones, but that's a great rep. Not only by the offensive guy running the right pattern, it's a great rep by the defensive guy being right where he needed to be and making a play on the ball, So we tend to just praise good things on both sides of the ball.
We've talked a little bit about a few guys that are going to be big contributors for this team. Austin Hill is QB1, Micah Stinson, Dom Lee, Kyron Powers. These are some of just a few guys that are going to be really good for this team that you've mentioned. Tell me a little bit about these guys and really just the whole team and how they've performed.
Sure. Now that list could be forever long. You gotta, I could have paraded a lot of guys out here in front of you. So I want to make sure I say that. These four, one, Austin he took over as QB1 halfway through the year, had not played football in years. So that's just unbelievably tough. This year, through the summer, again, he's also a basketball player. He's, also a baseball player.
Right.
So through the summer, he doesn't get to just study being a quarterback like a lot of good quarterbacks get to. His reading has gotten so much better, but he's throwing a very catchable ball. There's times that during practice we just look and go, as coaches, we're like, it's dime, man. That's all you can say. He just laid it in the perfect spot, And so that's exciting. He's also, quarterback running is a part of our offense. And so this year he's a more physical runner than he was last year, and I think that's going to help us out a ton. Kyron and Micah, what I love about those two guys is they're utility knives, man. Whatever they're football smart, so that you can move them around, put them in different positions. We got Micah set as a tight end. Micah could play quarterback for us. He did. He started last year as quarterback. Kyron could play tight end. He could play H-back. He could run. He plays linebacker, inside, outside linebacker. So they're guys that know the game, that are willing to be coached, and that can just bounce around everywhere. And Dom literally has not missed a single practice or workout since November, not one. And that's not a shot. I told you earlier, there's lots of good reasons to miss practice or I can't be there. It has literally, Coach Carr keeps the attendance, and he goes, he's literally not been absent once. That means he hasn't missed school.
Right.
That means, and it shows up. So
and that's something that you can't teach. That's just.
They got to want it.
Right.
Yeah. You've got to want it. And he wants it. He wants it. Now he's and he won't mind me saying this, he's a receiver. Like, he's open every play. Just ask him, But that's great. But I love that.
Yeah.
And last year, I think he really, last year bothered him a little bit in asking, what can I do? And so offensively, again, he's been showing out at wide receiver. He's been playing our star position on defense, and man, he's just grown so much.
All right, thank you so much, Coach Carr, for coming on with me today. We'll be back in just a second after a quick break to talk with some Riverview Raiders. Coach Carr, thank you so much for coming on.
Kane, I appreciate it, man. It's been great.
All right, we're here for the player segment interviews with the Riverview Raiders, and I'm joined with QB1 Austin Hill. Austin, you were the starting quarterback last season for the first time for this team. Looking back on last season and this offseason, how have you grown as a player to be there for this team?
I think I've really grown as in like a leadership. You know, like I feel like people are down, you can just pick them up. Like from being that in that quarterback position, you're unknown, like you're supposed to be the leader. And I feel like I've done pretty good this year about picking players up and then they're like, you're okay. Like they're running on the route, it's fine, just pick the next play, just move on, just middle reps.
All right, and then you have exhibition game coming up in just under 2 weeks against England. That's going to be hosted here at Riverview. You've been working hard all offseason. What are you wanting to see from your team?
I mean, we want to win, obviously. Right. We want to win really bad, but like even then, just growth. Just like seeing the players having fun, you know, like just seeing growth in what we do. Like our line, that was a big key last year. Like even our position players, like I feel like everybody has grown in their own way. So I think we should do pretty good in that game.
And speaking on the line, head coach Chuck Carr, he spoke very good about the offseason work that y'all put in the weight room just to get stronger and, you know, really just to compete better out on the field. You were 1-9 last season, but that means there's so much room for growth coming into this year. And of course, that's the plan for the Riverview Raiders. How much has the offseason growth mattered to this team, and what's been this kind of instilled confidence that you felt?
Just having it in the back of your mind, like that, what the record was last year and how it ended. And like, if you look at like the stats and stuff, the numbers in the weight room, they've went up in like almost in the thousands. Like we've grown so much in the weight room because it's just that thought in the back of our mind, like we don't want to do that again. Especially being most of our senior year, because we're senior heavy this year, so we don't want to have another year like last year.
How has this coaching staff helped you grow, not just as a player but as a man, and how have they instilled confidence in you for week one?
Yeah, like a lot of our coaches, they every single practice, every single day, we're just making sure everybody's in the same mindset, like everybody's in the same mode. Like every practice, we're going 100%. It's just like Coach Goforth, our defensive head coach, he's an energy guy. Every day he has that same energy, gets everybody pumped up for practice and ready to go.
All right, and you speak of that energy that Coach Goforth brings to this team. Do you feel like that's something that was potentially missing in years previous that you just feel bolted about this year? It's something that you can rely on. You know, whenever week one comes, you're going to have that energy. Is that something that you felt like's been missing in previous years?
Yeah, for sure. Like these past few practices, really all summer, like every single day, it's just been energy. Like we've all been just 100% every practice, and like last year, it wasn't really like that. I feel like we're on like another level this year.
All right, and this is your final season as a Riverview Raider. You're going in QB1. That's a big role, especially in your senior season.
Sure.
What are you wanting to prove, not just as the quarterback, but for a team as a whole?
We're just trying to make a name for myself. Like last year, I feel like I kind of let the team down a little bit. I didn't have the best season. This year, I want to try to pick it up. Just have a great season all around.
All right, thank you so much, Austin. We're going to bring in another Riverview Raider. Coming up next will be Kyron Powers. And I'm now joined with key contributor, wide receiver, and linebacker, Kyron Powers. Kyron, you're a senior. The senior season is huge. You're a key contributor on both sides of the ball for this team. How much of a difference do you make, not for just the offense, but for the defense?
Well, last year I did lead the team in receptions and tackles, so I think if I just feel my role like that again this season, that I think we'll be all right, and just playing my position and trusting the rest of my defense and offense to do their jobs also.
And this team really wants to make a playoff push. Like we stated with Austin, you know, this team was 1-9 last year. But with that happening, you know, when there's a hill, there's a valley. But this is going to be the hill season. You're going to climb up that hill. This is going to be a really good season for the Riverview Raiders, hopefully. What are you going to do just to make sure you're holding up your end of the stick?
Well, I think just trusting my coaches and trusting my teammates is a big part. Just trusting the game plan, watching film, you know, really studying the other team, make sure we have our game plan that's right, you know, make sure we execute. I think that'll just really push us over the edge. Last year we didn't really have a lot of execution, and I feel like we didn't really trust each other a lot. So I think just the trust and the execution will really help us.
And following off that trust and execution, you know, this coaching staff plays a huge role in that. Tell me a little bit about that coaching staff and how much they've meant to you.
Well, Coach Carr is, I think, our fourth head coach in about 6 years, so we haven't really had a lot of trust in the coaching staff lately, but he came back and he's really instilled like hard work, and he's been really pushing us this offseason to get stronger and just you know, trust our teammates and like love each other. So I think that this coaching staff has just really instilled that hard work and love.
Coach Carr and this entire coaching staff has put in relentless work this whole offseason to make you guys better.
What has been the biggest difference from years previous, different off seasons? What's been the biggest difference with this team?
I think this year we've taken weightlifting really seriously. I think last year we were not only mentally weak, but also physically weaker than all the other teams that we played, which was the reason we went 1-9. But I feel like this year we're physically matched up with every team that will play this year. So I think that the coaches have just done a really good job of getting us physically prepared, and we just have to go on to game day being mentally prepared and ready to beat the other team.
Like we talked about with Austin, you have that first game day coming up in less than 2 weeks against England in an exhibition game here at Riverview. What are you hoping to see from your team?
I'm hoping to see a lot of execution and a lot of love from our teammates, and, trusting each other. Like when eventually there's going to be a bad play, I hope to see some guys picking each other up, not bringing each other down, and then we'll have another bad play. So hope to see us execute really well and just be brothers on the field.
We're about to be joined here with another Riverview Raider here in just a second. Thank you so much, Kyron.
Sir.
Right, now here with junior wide receiver Dom Lee. Thank you so much for coming on today, Dom. This offense is looking to make big jumps, not just physically, but also mentally, just making the right plays. And you're going to be a big part of that. Austin Hill, the QB, has done his work. What have you done this offseason to make sure you're game day ready?
I came to all the workouts. I didn't miss a single day. And I would put energy out onto the field. I made sure nobody was down when they were having a bad day. I lifted them up.
And you speak of that energy that this team has. That's been a constant reoccurrence this whole day from everyone that I've talked to, the energy. And I'm sure this coaching staff is a big part of that. Tell me a little bit about that energy and how much that means to this team.
The energy from the coaches that they put out is really amazing. They never make sure, they just don't make sure that we're mad, upset at something. They always make sure that we're okay. And like Austin said, our defensive head coach, he really puts out a lot of energy on the field and makes sure that we're doing our job.
And at wide receiver, you're a trademark of this offense. Austin needs you night in and night out. Every Friday night, you're going to be a big part of what happens. What are you doing to make sure that whenever Friday night comes, you're going to be ready?
I'm just showing up to workouts. I'm just making sure I do my job. I'm doing the right thing when I'm out on the field. And if I mess something up, I'm holding myself accountable.
All right, going back to that coaching staff a little bit, let's talk a little bit about Coach Guernsey, the offensive coordinator. He's helped so much this offseason just to make sure you're going to be physically ready, route ready, everything that can come at you Friday night, you're going to be ready. It's a big part of this team. How are you feeling for the upcoming game on Friday night against England 2 weeks away?
I have a lot of confidence. Last year we had a pretty bad season, but I think what the coaches are doing in flipping the program, I think we have a bright future this season. I think England, I'm ready to see them.
And then you're a junior. A lot of these guys on this team are seniors, so you got a lot to play for. You still have one more year, but just to make sure, you want to make a playoff push for these guys that only have 1 year left. What's been the biggest motivation this offseason, just to know that you're playing for those guys and it could be their potential last game?
They're all my friends. I have a lot of respect for all of them. They're my upperclassmen. I've learned from a lot of them. And I want to make sure that they have a good last season and that I can do everything I do to push them to the playoffs so they can enjoy their last season.
All right, thank you so much, Dom Lee. We're about to be joined with another Riverview Raider here in just a second. Stay tuned.
All right, now here with senior tight end and outside linebacker Micah Stinson. Micah, thank you so much for coming on today. And we've talked to other players on this team. They're key contributors on both sides of the ball. The same case is here with you.
Yeah.
What do you do just to make sure you're going to be there for the team?
I just play my part, play my role, and get downhill as fast as I can. Play with speed.
You talk about just doing your part. Tell me a little bit more about that.
Really being a leader on and off the ball, helping guys out, keeping that energy high, and just manning the defense. Got to be a leader, and yeah.
You speak of that energy that you have on and off the field. I'm sure is the case with the Riverview Raiders. I've heard that from every single player today. The energy is there. Mm-hmm. What's that been like this offseason, just to have newfound energy for a potentially successful season?
Oh, it's been great. We've had a lot of energy throughout the offseason. Most energy we've had since I've been here. So I feel like that energy is going to come over into the Friday nights, and we're going to do pretty.
All right, and you talked a little bit about you being a leader for this team. As a senior, it could be your potentially last game coming up this season.
Yeah.
What does it mean to you to be a leader for this Riverview Raider team, both on and off the field?
keeping everybody in check and making sure everybody knows what they're doing, knows how to play their part, play their role, and that's about it.
And you have to man both sides of the ball, tight end and linebacker, so you have to play your part to a T and you have to know your role.
Yeah.
How hard is it for you just to know your role but also to help others?
It's not that hard actually, because I've been doing it for a while, but to do that you have to listen and you got to work at it, and I have a pretty good work ethic, so we pretty good.
And then with the work ethic and listening, the coaches instill that every day at practice.
Mm-hmm.
What coach has been really a foundation for you? And I'm sure this whole coaching staff has helped, but if you just had to have one that's really helped you without this offseason, who has it been?
I'd say Coach Carr. He's really helped me out a lot. He's been there, keeping me going,
All right, and we heard from Coach Carr earlier in this interview, and we're so thankful for this entire Riverview Raider team. Guys, thank you so much for coming on. We're wishing for a successful Riverview Raiders season. They have an exhibition game against England coming up in less than 2 weeks. We'll see you then.